Hello folks, add-ons have been in the World of Warcraft news quite a bit lately, with Blizzard's announcement that they've plans to rein in the power of combat add-ons. But that does not mean that add-ons are going away. In all of Blizzard's public announcements, the developers have made it very clear that the add-ons we use in open world content or just to customize the appearance of the game will continue to be supported. I personally have far too many add-ons, and I'm hoping that at some point I can reduce that a bit, but I really don't see myself ever going add-on free. So I thought I'd dig through my add-on list and pull together my top 10 open world add-ons. At number 10, we have Farm HUD. If you're someone who enjoys mining, herbalism, or even fishing, you'll probably be familiar with how awkward it can be to try and fly around while watching the minimap at the same time as somehow avoiding objects in the game world. Farm HUD helps to solve this problem by turning the minimap into a full screen head-up display with all those nodes and even treasures right in front of you on the main screen. It does take a little bit of getting used to, but the greatly enlarged minimap does mean that you quickly become able to drop down onto your targets with pinpoint accuracy. At number 9, we have better fishing. Even if you only fish once per expansion, I'm sure that you'll still be familiar with that pattern where you click on the ability, stare carefully at the bubbler, only to lose track of your mouse pointer and fail to click in time. Better fishing makes use of the interact key system to make the whole fishing look a whole lot more convenient to use, allowing you to use the same keybind to both start fishing and to interact with the bubbler. Being able to sit there watching Furygen WoW on YouTube while you're just hitting one button is a surprising quality of life boost. But it's not the only thing that this add-on does for you. When you start to fish, Better Fishing will also automatically adjust the game sound settings, dialing music and ambient sounds down while boosting the sound effect so that you'll notice that little splash sound. And once you stop fishing, it automatically puts all of the sounds back to where they were. No matter why you end up fishing, if you do spend any time with a fishing rod, I cannot recommend this add-on enough. At number 8, we have Quester. Quester is a fairly small and simple cosmetic add-on for your quest log. It has a bunch of features, but the one that personally makes me use the add-on is that it can recolor your quest objectives depending on your progress through them. What this basically means is that the objective will gradually change from red at the start through orange and then yellow and green until you're done with that quest. Next, at number 7 is Hiding Bar. One very annoying aspect of having a lot of add-ons is the way that they end up festooning your minimap with icons. Thankfully, most add-on authors do offer an option to get rid of their icon, in theory letting you limit the icons on the map to the ones you actually want to see. I say in theory because even those essential minimap icons can still become too much. If only there was a way to have them be a flyout or a container instead. Now, this is a feature that is built into the game, the add-on compartment it's called, but most add-ons tend to end up putting their icons in both the compartment and the minimap, which kind of defeats the purpose of it. This is where Hiding Bar comes in. It allows you to create a flyout, which can either be a little discrete bar somewhere on your screen or an icon flyout from the minimap. It can forcibly capture add-on minimap icons and move them away from your map. I personally use the bar option to attach it to the bottom of my DialogUI minimap, and it looks really good. At number 6 is item quality upgrade icons. Do you find yourself struggling to remember which upgrade track is better than the others? Well, okay, for sure, when it comes to the myth and hero track, that's pretty obvious, and I think most folks know what champion means as well. But here's a question for you, which is better, adventure track or explorer track? And just what is the max item level of champion and the hero tracks right now? Go on, admit it, I saw you look it up online just there. Item quality upgrade icons modifies the standard tooltip to apply the crafting quality icon system to your gear tooltips to indicate the quality, that's in inverted commas of course, of the upgrade track that the item is on. But for me, the game changer is that it shows you not just the current item level of the item, but the max item level that the item can reach. Being able to see that I'm replacing an item that I can only upgrade to 665 with one that goes up to 684 is just a game changer. At number 5 is Rare Scanner. If you're a collector or an achievement hunter, then sooner or later you're going to have to start to track down that specific rare that you missed. The problem with that, of course, is that camping a rare spawn point, even if you can find it, really isn't much fun. But there's something about rares that's even less fun. Heading off to make a coffee because you get a bit bored, only to come back and see the corpse of that rare lying right in front of you. Rare Scanner's primary job is to let you know whenever a rare spawns nearby. It scans both the main map and the mini-map for the rare markers showing up, along with all the other subtle ways that the Blizzard developers try to let us know that a rare is coming. And if all else fails, it will also watch for the rare's nameplate showing up on screen, just in case you miss the obvious. But that's not all that Rare Scanner can do. It will also place markers for those rares on the map to help you find them. And it also has a filtering system where you can exclude rares that you don't care about, something that I highly recommend using so that you don't just learn to ignore all of the alerts, because if you leave Rare Scanner in its standard default setup, it can be pretty noisy at times. Rare Scanner also has some smart filters, which will auto-disable a rare if you happen to get all the drops you want from it. At number 4, we have Simple Add-on Manager. When you have a lot of add-ons like me, managing all of those add-ons can end up being a bit of a challenge. And I suspect that most of you will have all of your add-ons enabled all of the time and just disable everything if you end up in that situation where an add-on starts to cause an issue. But I'm also sure quite a few of you will have had that experience where you've wanted to temporarily disable just one broken add-on until it's fixed, only to then accidentally enable it again anytime that you try to make changes to your add-ons. Now, the reality is that having add-ons does affect the game's performance, and that does mean that there are situations when having all of your add-ons enabled may not be the best idea. I happen to note that quite a lot of higher-end players do disable all but their core combat add-ons whenever they do Mythic Plus or raiding. But switching back and forth to having all of your add-ons enabled and only a subset of them is something that is very fiddly and easy to get wrong when you use the default add-ons list. And good luck trying to replicate that process on half a dozen different alts. Simple Add-on Manager allows you to build up different add-on profiles that you can very easily switch between depending on what you want to do in-game. It also offers the ability to flag certain add-ons as essential, which basically means that if you hit the Disable All Add-ons button, it will still leave those essential add-ons enabled, including the all-important Simple Add-on Manager itself. The most powerful aspect of Simple Add-on Manager is that if you want to be able to use a couple of add-ons which potentially overlap and conflict with each other, then this can make that process a lot easier. And without it, I'm not sure I would be able to recommend the next pair of add-ons in this very list. And that leads very nicely into add-on number 3, which is actually going to include 2 different add-ons, both of which do basically the same thing, but they do it in a very different way. And I actually find myself using both of these at different times. The standard World of Warcraft quest user interface really hasn't changed much since it was introduced in vanilla, and I have always found its wall of text presentation of quests to be quite hard to read. As a fan of the lore and storylines, I do like to read the quest text at least first time around. But with the default user interface, I always struggle to do it and would end up just reading the objectives instead and missing out on a lot of stuff. Over the years, I've used several different add-ons to solve this problem, including Storyline and Immersion, both of which do much the same thing, breaking the text into shorter bite-sized paragraphs but presenting them in very different ways. But for the War Within, I have found another option, which when it comes to experiencing the story is a bit of a game changer. Interaction presents the main quest text as a speech bubble. Most of the main quest text has always been written as if it is the quest NPC talking to us, so seeing it presented as a text bubble just makes so much sense to me. It isn't 100% perfect, as it does have to deal with NPCs not really being well positioned on screen for those text bubbles, but it does nevertheless manage to deal with many of those corner creases quite well. Now, I've personally found that interaction does tend to slow me down quite a bit, but when I'm trying to enjoy the story, that's exactly what I want to do. So if you're an enjoyer of the storyline and lore, I do recommend that you give this a go. And if it doesn't work, then trying out one of those other add-ons that I mentioned to see if they work for you could be a good idea as well. The one big downside of immersion is that when I'm going around Donegal and Reset Day picking up all those weekly chore quests, I'm really not so interested in having to reread the same quest text that I've already read 20 times. And so for day-to-day gameplay, I find that I prefer something a little bit simpler. And that's where my other Quest UI replacement add-on comes in. DialogUI is a complete reskin of the Quest user interface, but it's one that retains much of the same basic approach as the original, but it does it in a way that still manages to make the quest text a lot easier to read. DialogUI is therefore my go-to Quest add-on for day-to-day gameplay, with immersion being reserved for when I'm leveling up or when I'm in my first run-throughs of the campaign storylines. At number 2, I have Tome of Teleportation. Do you sometimes find yourself wasting time digging through your spellbook to find the dungeon portal to your next Mythic Plus key? It would be easier for sure to put it on an action bar, but I don't know about you, I tend to have enough stuff on my bars as it is. Or maybe you'd like to actually use all of those different cosmetic Hearthstone toys that you've collected over the year, rather than just using the same old one that you have in your bars every time. Tome of Teleportation is an add-on that collects together all of your teleportation tools, toys and other spells in one easy screen. By default, it will show all of your Hearthstone toys and teleports along with all your dungeon portals, which can be a bit much. But the good news is that it does offer a bunch of filtering options, including the ability for it to randomly select one of their Hearthstone toys for you to use next. And for the dungeon portals, it can limit those to just the ones from the current seasonal rotation. This add-on also supports all of those mage teleports, along with all the obscure little toys and items that we've collected over the year, many of which that I suspect when you see them, you'll realise you'd forgotten about. And for number 1, we have Litemount. If you follow me on social media, you will know that I'm a big mount collector, but what's the point of collecting mounts just to never use them again? World of Warcraft does have a built-in summon favourite mount option, which does attempt to be somewhat context sensitive. For example, it will only summon flying mounts in normal zones and swimming mounts when you're underwater. However, I personally find that that option does make some very odd choices sometimes. For example, in no-fly zones, it will quite happily continue to summon flying mounts as long as they have legs to walk on. And that's where my favourite add-on comes in. Litemount is a random mount summoning add-on that makes much smarter choices about what mount to summon when and where, but that's only the beginning. Litemount's true strength is in its ability to customize what you summon. You can create your own groups of mounts and apply different rules to those groups. For example, if you wanted your mount to be themed by the area you're in, that's totally possible. You can also assign priorities to make some mounts show up more often than others, and even change if a mount should be treated as a flying mount or not. The possibilities are endless. So if you find yourself getting bored seeing the same 2 or 3 mounts on screen all of the time, then this add-on could be for you. And there you go, that's my favourite top 10 open world add-ons. Hopefully you'll have been able to find something new or useful in all of this, but even if you haven't, do please sound off in the comments down below and share the add-ons that you personally find useful or indispensable. Just make sure it's not one other add-on that I want to add to my list. I really do have way too many add-ons as it is. If you found this update helpful, entertaining, or even just plain annoying, then do let me know by hitting that like icon. And if you want to support my channel to grow and help me to make more of these videos along with my other content, then hit that subscribe button right now before you forget. And if you don't want to miss out whenever I release a new video, then as well as subscribing, you can follow me on social media. My links are in the description below as well. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.